People get most because some days or weeks I'll go clearing off the desk, getting everything done.
Yeah.
Then the next week I'll go, oh, that wore me out last week, so I'm going to wait a little bit till week 3. Do people jump between modes?
They do, and a lot of it may be ego depletion. So ego depletion is where you are, when you're using a lot of self-control, what they find is that if you believe it, that the self-control is finite. So if you're spending a lot of time at work in self-control, you're more likely to go home and watch TV, for example, than go to the gym because you've depleted that self-control mode. So on the days whenever you are fresher, you may find yourself less likely to sabotage yourself because you have some self-control reserves to spare.
I go home and watch Yellowstone and watch all that ruckus show and live vicariously through them, you know? So there we go. All right.
Exactly.
All right, so let's wrap it up. 6 vectors. How do people get that discipline in their life when they feel it spiraling?
Well, so one of the main things is to chunk it up into mini habits. I say it's about creating a ritual. You heard me say this before. I would rather someone exercise 1 minute a day, 6 days a week, than 30 minutes 1 day a week, because it's about creating that ritual. So if you can set up smaller habits for yourself through the day, 1 minute of reading versus an hour of reading to start, and get the ritual going, you're more likely to actually establish the habit and then also grow that habit. So it's counterintuitive for some people, but do that. Get yourself we're social creatures. Get yourself some support. Have someone hold you accountable to your word. Create more reward systems for yourself. So my son, when he's cleaning up his room, I'll set a 2-minute timer and like all the clothes in 2 minutes, and he drives for that, makes it kind of a game, and then he can celebrate that little win. Then we go for the toys, etc. And then you want to make sure that you also are being with the pain of avoidance. So really kind of sit with that, lean into it, and understand that if you lean into the pain of not doing it and accept that as part of this, that if you get started, because that's always the hardest part, if you get started on what it is that your goal is, that you can actually have that feeling go away for yourself.
So if I work out 3 times a week or run the bridge 3 times a week, I could go to Scarlet Scoop on Friday.
We'll talk about that.
All right, we're going to come up one more segment with Debbie Cox DeNova. It's all next. Don't go away.
We have big news here at Terrebonne Ford.
You can now get a $1,000 auto bonus cash when you order a new Ford.
This means you get to design the new Ford that you want. Color, trim, options, you design it the way you want it.
And your new Ford will get priority in the building process, so you get your new Ford sooner.
Plus 1,000 order bonus cash. Order online at terrebonneford.com or come see us at Terrebonne Ford in Houma.
'Tis the last weeks before Christmas, and Santa will soon be here, with toys for all the children that have been good throughout the year. But on Monday, December 20th, here on HTV, children will be able to call Santa and Mrs. Claus and talk live on TV. So from 7 to 8:30, call with glee to read your list to Santa, and maybe you'll find what you asked for under your tree.
Ho, ho, ho!
Surprise!
It's a new Buick.
You got me a new Buick?
And there are more gifts inside. Is this a rear vision camera?
Yes, it is.
Look at the dog.
There's so many gifts in here, I don't even know where to start.
Watch this, Mom.
Alexa, turn on holiday lights.
This year, give the gift of technology in every Buick SUV. Get $3,750 purchase cash on Enclave models. Plus, current eligible Buick owners get an additional $1,000 allowance when you finance through GM Financial.
Welcome back. We've missed you. We know it's been tough. Because rebuilding your business isn't for the faint of heart. Your business needs a jump start. And we're here to help. Introducing Surge, symmetrical speed fiber internet from eTel Business. Revved up data speeds at 30% off, plus 3 months free. We're glad you're back, and we're here to make your business surge.
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel.
Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish.
But the stick doesn't lie.
No.
That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog.
It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken.
And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That center circulation has moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point. It's moving right up the stick, and that stick goes directly over Grand Isle and Fouchon. All right, welcome back. We have Debbie for 3 segments today because she's so good. She gives us great information. We're getting good vibes from people out there in the community. So, consciousness versus subconscious.
Yeah. So
that's a big battle that goes on, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is. And so a lot of people are beating themselves up because they can't seem to get their goals accomplished. They know exactly what to do. They can't get it done. I want you to know, first of all, that is completely normal. It's a human problem. It's not a you problem, okay?
Well, thank you confirming that in. I appreciate it.
Here's the problem. We live in a day and age where all this information can come into us, but we're still hardwired to take things very slowly with our nervous system and things like that. So if you can think of the mind in 2 parts, think of it as the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, okay? The conscious mind being what we're using right now. It helps us with executive function, with making decisions, with critical thinking. And then the subconscious mind is actually the part where it's unconscious, it just rolls, right? So in the very beginning, for example, when you're learning to drive, you're using a lot of conscious mind to remember what to do, right? Like you got to put it in drive, you got to check the mirror, you got to 10 and 2. Yeah. Very shortly afterward, though, it all gets into your limbic system, and before long, you don't even remember your drive from home to work, right?
Very true.
It's in your subconscious mind. It's in your limbic system. Now, it takes something to get into that automatic mode. Here's the problem. That we have a very short battery life on the conscious mind, okay? So 5% of our day is spent in conscious thinking. That battery can be reserved with things like just picking what to wear or deciding what to make for dinner, right? And then the rest of the time, then it's the 95% we're going according to our subconscious. Good, bad, right, or wrong, okay? So here's the great news. If we can create automaticity, and that is just basically a habit. It's you doing things that are good for yourself without actually having to think of the steps. If you can create automaticity of the positive strategies that you know will bring you to your best life or to your goals, then you don't have to think about them, right? And so it'll be as easy as brushing your teeth or tying your shoelaces, but how do you do that, right? Because people are trying to approach this. So here's the most important thing to remember. We only have so much capacity for change, most of us. Okay, so research has shown that if you approach just one thing, one habit for 30 days, and you put your intention into it, that you have about an 85% chance of actually getting that habit into your life, okay? If you try to approach 2 things, your chances drop down to 35%. 3 things, and your chances drop down to 5%. So how many of us are going, okay, I'm going to start eating right, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to start reading this book, and they attack all of these things all at one time, and very shortly afterward, they're doing nothing, right?
So New Year's resolution should be resolution.
Resolution. And it doesn't mean that you aren't going to make the incremental habits. It doesn't even mean that you're not going to make more than one thing happen at a time. It just means that you commit to the one, and then if you want to add on, so people ask, well, what should I not exercise and eat right at the same time? Of course you should, but let's commit to one. The exercise is a must, okay? And then also, let's eat right, but let's know that if we go off the path with the eating for the first 30 to 66 days is the average for building a habit, then it's okay, because as long as we stay consistent with the exercise and get that built in, then we can hyper-focus on the eating next.
You talked about subconscious. Some of my best times are when I daydream. That's important daydreaming, isn't it?
Important, yes. Yes, of course. Especially someone who's online all the time thinking about, making decisions at work. To give yourself that downtime. Meditation is a really powerful thing, too, to bring your brain into alpha state so that there's recovery happening, right? So you're disengaging so that you can actually, and in silence is really good. You'll actually build gray matter with both meditation and being in silence for a good bit of the day. So yes, absolutely good for you. And
do people pick times to do that, or does everyone have a special time they can do it?
Well, no. So you can do it any time of the day. It's important to know that there are 2 times of the day where your brain is in theta state. And theta is imagination and creativity, but it's also when it's like a hypnotic state, okay? So right when you wake up, and right before you go to bed, you're in theta state. These are 2 very powerful times where you can program your subconscious mind if you have programs and beliefs that are running and working against you, which we all do to some degree. So if you're intentional with that 5% and you actually strategize around what do I want to change in my life, and you pick one thing at a time, and you stay consistent with habits like reviewing what you want out of your life before bed and then right when you wake up, kind of sandwiching it in, and staying consistent with your mini habits, even if it's just 5 jumping jacks a day at the same time. And then what research has shown is that if you actually create a plan, the more specific the plan is, the more likely you are actually to follow through with it. So I'm going to be right here by my desk doing 5 jumping jacks at 2 o'clock, and you have it written down, you're more likely to actually accomplish it, 2 to 3 times more likely. So it's really important to get intentional and use your 5% well.
You put a lot of pressure on them in this series, you know. Have you ever been in right in the morning, come up with this brilliant idea, but you're in this state where you're really not conscious, and then you're coming into consciousness, and you're scrambling to remember what it is, and I'm going, I just forgot what it was.
Yes, always keep a pen and paper by your bed. I'm a big believer in that.
Okay. So pen and paper, and the minute you get it, just write it down, because you're not going to remember it for long.
Right, yeah.
That's a powerful thing, subconscious to conscious, isn't it?
It's very powerful. It's everything, really.
It's the circuit for your brain, isn't it? Your soul.
It is. And look, just remember that good habits are just as addictive as bad habits. So you might as well switch them out. Switch out your bad habits for your good ones.
All right, there you have it. Debbie Cox-DeNova giving us some good vibes here on HTV. And we will be back again next week with more Debbie. So we'll see you. More programming right here on HTV.
No law degree, no amount of experience can supersede the compassion that our firm gives to its clients.
One of the secrets is to always know your case better than your opposing counsel knows his or her case.
We try to carry those values that we've learned at home into the practice of law. And every client that walks through our door gets 100 years experience when they visit us.
I'm Mary Riviere, and when you come through our doors at Waits & Downer, you're part of our family.
I feel so overwhelmed. Being a mom, wife, employee, and now a teacher is exhausting. How do I keep my family safe from everything going on in the world?
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
I have something for you.
I have something for you too.
Step up to GMC with 0% financing on these GMC models.
See your local GMC dealer.
Over the years, Louisiana's Cajun Bayou has seen more than its fair share of challenges. In fact, some of the first people to settle along the bayou, the Acadians, were folks that had been expelled from their home country and left to fend for themselves. We're no strangers to adversity, and we know what it's like to struggle. These are unprecedented times, and while people will say this time is like nothing they've ever seen, we've heard that before, and it's likely we'll hear it again. And just like all the other times, we'll get through this. And when we do, we're gonna have a good time, just like we always do.
South Louisiana Quiz Bowl, the grand battle of wits, where today's finest students test their knowledge and wisdom to see if they rise to the academic challenge of South Louisiana Quiz Bowl. South Louisiana Quiz Bowl is brought to you by MC Bank, sharing that hometown spirit. Now here's your host, Mr. Chris Hunter.
Hello and welcome once again to South Louisiana Quiz Bowl. We continue our varsity tournament today with the defending champions here, E.D. White Catholic, and they will be taking on H.L. Bourgeois. Good luck to both teams. Let's jump right into rapid fire. And the word earth is going to be included in all of your answers. Earth.